Now, welcome along to Calling It. I'm Enda Call. So, Stephen Kenny starts his Ireland campaign today when Ireland take on Bulgaria in the Nations League. This is the starting lineup prediction. I think Stephen Kenny is going to go for his first game. Firstly, going into this game, it is a game that Stephen Kenny wants to win, but we're also going up against a team that should be beatable enough. We played them last year. Jack Byrne made his debut, and it was pretty much an Ireland second team that we had out that day, and it was a very easy fixture. So this is a winnable game for Ireland, but also it's a game where Stephen Kenny is going to probably try a few different things with his team. I can't see there being too many changes from the team from last year. He's not going to do a full change up when it comes to the starting lineup. He does have these games now, this Bulgaria game and the Finland game, that are winnable, that he can make a couple of changes and mess about with his team, see what players he likes, see what players don't really fit his system, and then go from there. So starting off, in nets, there's going to be no surprises. It's going to be Darren Randolph in goals. He has been Ireland's keeper for the last couple of years. And when we were looking at the depth chart of Irish players, goalkeeping looked like a more secure place when you look at Kevin Kelleher, who was at Liverpool, Kieran O'Hara, who was at United, and then Mark Travers, who was breaking into the first team at Bournemouth as well. It looked like that position was secure for the next couple of years. But Kelleher's not getting as much time at Liverpool as we would have thought. Mark Travers kind of fell behind at Bournemouth, and Kieran O'Hara is now unattached. So Darren Randolph is our best option so far. Hopefully over the next couple of years, maybe Mark Travers might get a couple of more Bournemouth appearances now down in the Championship as well. And now that Ramsdale has gone to Sheffield United, hopefully he might get bumped up to that first place spot for Bournemouth playing in the Championship. So it might be Mark Travers, probably the most likely to be the successor to Darren Randolph in goals in Ireland going forward. But probably going to be a 4-3-3 for Stephen Kenny at the start. And at right back, the biggest discussion has been Doherty or Coleman. I think it's going to be Doherty just because of the way that Stephen Kenny has been chatting in his press conferences, basically criticising how little caps Doherty has over the last couple of years for Ireland. And Doherty really is the player in form here if you're looking at it from an Irish perspective. He was playing at Wolves, who were fighting for a Champions League spot at one point in time in the season, and he's now got a big money move to Tottenham. Well, I say a big money move, it was a great bit of business for Daniel Levy getting Matt Doherty for such a little price tag. So he's probably going to start at right back. Duffy and Egan will be the centre back partnership. Again, Egan, one of the best defenders in the Premier League last year, Sheffield United's solid centre back, and Duffy, who just got a move to Celtic, didn't play as much as we would have wanted at Brighton this year, but if you're looking at it from an Irish perspective, Duffy has been one of Ireland's best players over the last few years, so he has done enough in an Irish shirt to warrant him starting, despite him not playing as much as the other players in this team in the Premier League this year. So that's going to be the centre back partnership. And then Enda Stevens, Sheffield United again, brilliant season for them. Brilliant season for Stevens as well. A couple of mistakes here and there, but overall a very solid season for his first year in the Premier League. So Enda Stevens, great option at left back. Then moving into midfield, so I know a lot of people want Jason Malumbi to start because of the great year he had with Millwall last season. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be James McCarthy, who is coming off a knock if you listen to Crystal Palace, but Stephen Kenny said he was fine when he was training, so he's likely to start as that centre defensive midfielder. And then Harry Arter will be alongside him. Harry Arter comes back into the team. He hasn't shown his best performances under in an Ireland shirt so far, but he did have a pretty good season for Fulham. Hopefully that can translate under Stephen Kenny. I suppose one of the criticisms for Arter, or the way that Arter was used, was that it wasn't playing to his strength, which is getting on the ball, moving it quickly, getting it back, and starting to create plays from deep in midfield. The ball was pretty much bypassing the midfield when he was playing for Ireland last. So hopefully when we're getting the ball down a little bit more, keeping possession, we'll see Arter shining in an Ireland shirt. And then in front of them, you're looking at Jeff Hendrick. You haven't seen the best of Jeff Hendrick over the last couple of years. Everyone keeps going back to that Euro performance that we saw and his breakaway season and the season that got him the move to Burnley. But I suppose if you're looking at the way that Sean Dyche wanted Hendrick to stay at Burnley, and that was one of the causes of friction between Sean Dyche and the Burnley board, then there must be a player somewhere inside there that the Jeff Hendrick that we haven't been seeing in an Ireland shirt, and hopefully the Stephen Kenny can come in and distill some confidence into him, get him to be a bit more brave on the ball, get forward a bit more. I think Hendrick is always better when he's driving towards the box with the ball or coming in late and getting the ball into the box. That's where you see the best of Jeff Hendrick, instead of this lackluster, slow passing, slow movement, trying to break up play. That's not his job. That's not what he's best at. So hopefully under Stephen Kenny we'll see a little bit of a different player from Jeff Hendrick. And then in the front three, Shane Long's going to be starting up front. He's exactly the type of player that Stephen Kenny likes, someone who's going to work hard, someone who's going to hold up the ball well, and someone who can cause a little bit of damage in behind the defence as well with his pace. Shane Long, again, his confidence hasn't been great. He had a pretty good season for Southampton down the latter stage of the season, so hopefully he can carry that on and get a goal in an Ireland shirt again, because it's been too long since he's actually performed to the best of his ability in an Ireland shirt. So Shane Long's going to be starting up front. Callum O'Dowda might be a surprise inclusion at right wing. I haven't seen much of him for Bristol City this year, but in an Ireland shirt I think he's actually been pretty good. So why will Stephen Kenny go with him? He's sort of a creative spark in that front three that can make something happen. He can also drop into the midfield and get a little bit more central, allowing Matt Doherty to actually push on as a wing back and get some space down that right flank. So I suppose one of the issues that the Coleman Doherty link up had was that Doherty and Coleman were trying to do the same thing when they were playing in the same team together, whereas O'Dowda likes to cut in onto his left foot. He likes to come into the middle, and that will create some space for Matt Doherty down the right hand flank as well. So he might be a surprise inclusion in Stephen Kenny's squad for the Bulgaria game. Whether or not that'll be the team that he goes with, or if O'Dowda will become a regular under Stephen Kenny, it's hard to know so far. But I think he will start against Bulgaria just to test something out to see if that works. And then on the left wing, you're not going to like this, James McLean. He had a brilliancy for Stoke, in fairness to him. He was Stoke's player of the year. Finally got a bit of confidence in him, scoring a few goals, getting forward, works hard, and Stephen Kenny knows him as well. So I think if James McLean can be a little bit more creative with the ball, keep the ball a little bit better, don't be rushing into mad tackles like he tends to do, I do think James McLean has a role to play in this Ireland team. I really do. But too often under Mick McCarthy and under Martin O'Neill, it was get the ball to McLean. McLean goes down the left-hand flank, and then there's actually nobody in the box to cross it into, or the ball breaks down once it gets to McLean because there's nobody in the midfield giving him an option to pass the ball to. So there's two ways of looking at it. You can say that he was sloppy with the play, that he gave the ball away too much, or you can look at it that, you know what, maybe he just didn't have enough options on to give the ball to the midfield or get it into the box. So hopefully James McLean can spark a little bit. He always plays with his heart in his sleeve for Ireland. He always has a bit of passion for the shirt. So if he can combine that with some good performances like we've seen for Stoke this year, then he actually does have a strong role to play in this Ireland team, and he will be starting under Stephen Kenny, at least for the Bulgaria game anyway. We might see Aaron Connolly come in that position against Finland, but I do think James McLean is going to start this game. Overall, even though there's not that many changes to the team, I do think there's going to be a distinct change of style of play. Stephen Kenny likes to keep the ball, but he's also pragmatic. I don't think they have to be too pragmatic in this game against Bulgaria. They can be a bit more expansive. But if you listen to the players from the press conferences throughout the week, Darren Randolph was asked to describe what the style of play will be under Stephen Kenny, and he said possession, playing out from the back. So that's already instilled in the players. They already know what their roles are, and I do think we will see a different style of Ireland. Whether we'll be more successful under Stephen Kenny, we won't see that until next year if they get to the Euros. Hopefully they will, but we will see hopefully Ireland going out in these games like Bulgaria and games against the likes of Georgia and Gibraltar. We won't be going out to not lose the game. We will be going out to press on the front foot, keep possession, be the best team on the pitch, and try and win the games. That's the way I envisage this Stephen Kenny reign. Whether or not it's going to be more successful, again, we have to wait and see. But that's probably not the starting lineup I would go with. But I do think that's the starting lineup Stephen Kenny will go with for this game at least. We might see a few changes against Finland. I would say we can actually guarantee a few changes against Finland. But I do think that's going to be the team he plays against Bulgaria tonight. What do you think? Do you agree with the team? How do you think Stephen Kenny's going to get on? Are we being overly optimistic about the way he's going to play? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I'm Andy Call. This has been Calling It. We'll chat to you later.